Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine stepping into an ancient world, not the serene, meditative one you might picture first.
No, think more along the lines of surprising legal drama, even public outcry.
Exactly. And it's all playing out around a group of Buddhist nuns. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really specific piece of source material, Saṅghādisesa 1.
And this isn't just, some minor text. It's one of 17 Saṅghādisesa rules. That's a major category of disciplinary offenses for Buddhist nuns.
Right. Serious offenses that actually require the whole community's involvement to sort out.
Precisely. And the origin story for this particular rule is, well, it's absolutely fascinating.
What makes it so compelling, I think, is that this foundational moment in monastic law, it actually comes out of something really human, an inheritance dispute.
It does. The story starts in Sabatthi at Jetavana in Anathapita's Aramaso, right during the Buddhist time.
Okay.
And we hear about a lay follower who passed away. Before he died, he donated what's called an udosita, like a residence or some kind of property, to the Bhikkhunī Sangha.
The community of nuns.
Yes. Now, this man had two sons. One was faithful, devout. The other, completely the opposite, faithless, disrespectful.
Ah, the setup for conflict right there. So the faithless son wanted the property back.
Pretty much. He wanted to divide it up, claiming it as their inheritance. His brother, the faithful one, initially resisted.
He knew their father's wishes.
Right. He kept saying, Dad gave it to the nuns, but the faithless brother just kept demanding it.
So the faithful brother eventually gave in.
He did, but with a plan, sort of. He thought, okay, if we divide it and I get a share, I'll just donate my part straight back to the nuns.
A noble thought, but things didn't quite work out that way, I'm guessing.
Not at all. They divided the property, and wouldn't you know it, the actual udosita, the residence, ended up with the faithless son.
Oh boy. So what did he do?
Immediately, he went to the nuns and basically told them to get out. He said, this is our udosita now.
And this is where Bhikkhunī Thullanandā enters the picture.
This is exactly where she steps in. Thullanandā was clearly not one to be pushed around. She told the man very directly that his father had donated the property to the Bhikkhunī Sangha.
So a direct confrontation.
Yes, and it escalated quickly. Both parties ended up taking the dispute to the Vohorke Mahamat.
The judicial magistrates of the time.
That's right, the legal authorities.
Okay, so it goes formal. What happened with the magistrates?
Well, the magistrates asked a reasonable question. Who could actually confirm this donation happened?
Right, they needed proof.
And Thullananda's response here is incredibly sharp. She asked them, have you ever seen or heard of a donation being given without a witness?
Wow, that's quite a comeback. Turning the burden of proof, almost.
Exactly. It was a powerful point. And it worked. The magistrates sided with the nuns. They confirmed the udosita did belong to the Bhikkhunī Sangha.
So a legal victory for the nuns. Case closed.
Legally, yes. But, this is where it gets even more interesting. Winning the case was one thing.
But dealing with the fallout was another.
Precisely. It's the start of this huge public relations issue. They defended their property, sure, but how people saw it became the next problem.
Right, the optics, as we'd say now. Even back then, that mattered, especially for a community relying on lay support.
Hugely important. So the legal battle's won, but the public relations one is just kicking off.
So what happens when this angry, defeated son takes his complaints public? How does the Sangha handle that kind of attack?
Well, he doesn't hold back. Defeated, enraged. He starts complaining publicly. And the language he uses is incredibly harsh.
What did he say?
He called the nuns asamancho imamon pantaquinho. It translates roughly, horribly, as these bald harlots who are not ascetics.
That's awful. Just pure slander.
Vicious stuff. And he's railing about how they seized our udosita. Thullanandā hears about this.
And knowing her, she didn't just ignore it.
Not a chance. She reported his slander to the magistrates again, and they punished him for it.
Okay, so he's punished for slander. But did that make him stop or just angrier?
Oh, just angrier. It only fueled his rage. His next move was retaliation, pure and simple.
How did he retaliate this time?
He set up something called an Ajjivikasaya, basically a dwelling for Ajjivika ascetics. They were a rival religious group back then, right near the nuns' residence.
So he's putting rivals right on their doorstep.
Exactly. And he apparently incited these ascetics to abuse the nuns. It was a deliberate attempt to cause ongoing trouble, and it also highlights the friction that existed between different ascetic groups.
That's just unbelievable escalation. And Thullanandā.
Consistent as ever, she reported this to the magistrates, too.
And what was the result this time?
This time the man was actually imprisoned.
Wow. So first the property dispute, then the slander and punishment, now inciting others and imprisonment. This must have caused quite a stir.
A huge stir. This whole sequence of events led to a significant public outcry. People started complaining loudly. You hear the echoes of their words. How could the nuns seize the Udosita, then have him punished a second time, and now imprisoned a third time? What's next? Are they going to have him killed? That was the fear, the public perception.
So the public mood turned against the nuns, or at least against Thullananda's actions.
Yes, and it wasn't just external. There was internal criticism, too. Nuns described as having few desires saw Thullananda as being usayavadika.
Meaning?
A troublemaker, basically. Contentious, someone stirring things up.
So pressure from outside and inside the community?
Exactly. And word of all this, the public discontent, the internal criticism, eventually reached the monks. And from them, it reached the Buddha himself.
Okay, so the whole situation lands in front of the Buddha. What's his reaction to Thullananda's actions and the public outcry?
Well, the Buddha's first reaction, according to the text, is to criticize Thullananda. He specifically calls her out for being usayavadika, contentious.
So he acknowledges the problem her actions, however justified legally, have caused.
Right. And this specific incident, this whole saga, leads directly to the formulation of a new rule.
This is the birth of Saṅghādisesa 1.
This is it. The rule states, essentially, if a nun lives contentiously or causes trouble, and it defines causing trouble as ekarika.
And who can this trouble be with?
It's quite specific. With a householder, gahapati, basically anyone living in a house, or a householder's son, gahapati puto sons, brothers, or even a slave, deso defined interesting ways, born in the house, bought or brought by force.
Okay.
Or a worker, kamakaro, like a hired hand, or even another ascetic or wanderer, samakaparibarka.
So pretty much anyone outside the immediate monastic community.
Almost. The rule explicitly excludes causing trouble with fellow monks, nuns, trainees, or novices. But with those other groups, if a nun acts contentiously,
She commits an offense.
yes, she incurs a pahamapatika offense, which is classified as a nisarnya sakadisa.
And Saṅghādisesa, as you said, is serious, requires the whole Sangha.
Very serious. It means rehabilitation, probation. It needs the entire community of nuns to handle it.
What's really remarkable is how the rule breaks down the offense into stages. It's not just about the final act of causing trouble.
That's incredibly precise, isn't it? It shows a real focus on intent and escalation.
So what are those stages?
Okay, so just thinking I'm going to cause trouble and then going to find someone else to involve, that's already a minor offense, a dukkaya.
Just the intention and seeking an ally.
Right. Then actually reporting the issue or making the complaint to one person, still a dukkaya.
It's still relatively minor.
But reporting it to a second person, that escalates it. Now it's a thulakaya offense, more serious.
Okay, so involving more people makes it worse. And the final stage.
When the trouble is fully brought to completion, the term is atapafeosane. That's when it becomes the full Saṅghādisesa offense.
The most serious level, requiring that full Sangha intervention, you mentioned the amount of probation, rehabilitation.
Exactly. It underscores this deep sense of collective responsibility. Discipline wasn't arbitrary. It involved the whole community for these major issues. It wasn't something just a couple of nuns could decide amongst themselves.
That emphasis on communal oversight is really significant.
Yeah.
You also mentioned exceptions. The rule wasn't absolute.
Correct. There were specific exceptions carved out showing a sensitivity to context and intent.
Like what?
For instance, if a nun was forced or dragged into a situation by others, or if she was genuinely just asking for protection.
Okay, that makes sense. Self-defense isn't causing trouble.
Right. Also, if she reported something unintentionally that caused trouble, or if she was considered insane. And interestingly,
Yes.
Thullananda herself, she was exempt as the first offender, the person whose actions actually caused the rule to be made in the first place.
Ah, so the precedent setter doesn't get punished under the rule she caused. Interesting.
It shows a certain legal logic, perhaps. The rule applies going forward.
So let's pull this all together. We've gone from what seems like an everyday inheritance dispute
Right, something quite mundane on the surface.
all the way to a pivotal moment in forming Buddhist monastic law for nuns. This whole story of Thullananda and the contested Udosita, it just vividly illustrates the complex dance between monastic life and lay society.
And the challenges of property rights, which are always complicated, plus the huge importance of reputation.
Absolutely. So the core takeaway seems to be this rule against being usayabadika, against causing trouble or being contentious.
Yes, the Buddha established it to find a balance, really. Protecting the Sangha's interests, like the donated property, was important.
But not at any cost.
Exactly. Not at the cost of harmony with the wider community they relied on. It shows how even pursuing justice successfully, like Thullanandā did legally,
Can have unintended ripple effects.
precisely. And those effects can prompt the need for broader ethical guidelines. And the fact that a Saṅghādisesa requires the whole community's action just hammers home that communal responsibility.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It raises this question, maybe for you listening. How do organizations today, any organization, really balance defending their own interests with maintaining good public relations and keeping internal harmony?
It's a constant tension. This ancient story gives us such a powerful lens, looking at righteousness versus strategy versus public perception.
It reminds us that these dilemmas, community, property, reputation, they're not new. They're as old as organized society itself.